Hello everyone. Today, let's nourish the wisdom of our minds, the formless, empty, pure essence of our life force, so that we may come to know our inherent nature, because we ourselves do not know, and no one has told us or pointed out to us about the nature of the mind. None of us have ever studied the wisdom of enlightenment. We only learn external subjects, learning about things on this earth, learning about the underwater world, learning about the underground world, learning about outer space, beyond the solar system. We learn about all kinds of animals, the way animals live, the birth of animal bodies. We learn about plants and trees. We learn about the cultures of the animal kingdoms. We learn about everything, immense and external, but we never reflect inwardly to learn about the original element that we already have, which is the mind. We don't even know how we rely on this body. We do not realize that we were born for one single purpose, to awaken to the truth of the mind. We don't see that when this body dies and breaks apart, we will continue searching for a new vessel, again and again, without end. When will we realize this? When will we awaken from the world of the body, the world of thoughts, emotions, and states of knowing? When will we awaken from these various dimensions? This body exists in a three-dimensional form, but we have become lost in the dimension of the body. We've become lost in the dimension of time, the dimension of distance, the dimension of thought, the dimension of mental imagery, the dimension of emotion, the dimension of sensory perception. We are lost in these fabricated dimensions. We learn everything through these dimensions, all of which are external. But do you know this? All dimensions have a place of origin. This body has a place of origin. The universe has a place of origin. The sun, black holes, and all the stars, great and small, have a place of origin. Even darkness and light have a place of origin. So, the point is that whether it's physical matter, it has an origin. All forms of energy, even the formless ones, have an origin. Do you realize that all of this arises from the same place? Let's imagine a fruit, an orange. The nature of an orange is that it has a peel. Where does the peel come from? The orange peel, if we use the analogy, that it functions to enclose the orange flesh, correct? If we were to say that the orange flesh created the orange peel to wrap itself, because the orange flesh is delicate and needs the coarser peel to enclose it. Now let's go back further. Where was the orange flesh created from? If we look deeply inside, we will find the orange seeds. The orange flesh protects the orange seeds, and the orange seeds are the original element, the most important part of this orange. Within this orange seed, there is another layer of peel enclosing it. This inner peel of the seed is very strong. Once you go inside the seed, you'll find the kernel, which contains the blueprint, essence, of a large tree within it. This kernel, this part of the orange seed, has the potential to create a large tree, which is the orange tree, and to produce countless more oranges. Let's call this kernel, this inner part of the orange seed, the original element, the life element, the source element. Now let's bring this analogy to ourselves. We have this body that we inhabit, which is like the orange peel. What do we think this body is for? Is it just for finding food for itself, and then ending with a meaningless death? Is that it? Do we think we inhabit this body just to feed it until it perishes? Is that the only purpose? What's the benefit of that? This body is physical matter, possessing conditioned phenomena that allow for communication. When there is a body, these conditioned phenomena include the sound being spoken now. It is because there is a body that there is sound to use for communication. This sound has no form, while the body has a physical form. If there were no body, this sound could not exist. Sound is used for communication, but sound itself is formless. This is a manifestation of the mind. This sound is like the orange flesh. The images we conjure in our minds are also like the orange flesh, used for communication. Mental images are for communication, and sound is for communication. Feelings of happiness, sadness, neutrality, peace. Emotions are also tools used for communication, just like the orange flesh. Sound, mental images, all emotions. The emotions we experience, like anger, hatred, resentment, malice, happiness, sadness, joy, contentment, cheerfulness, or listlessness, sorrow. All these emotions are manifestations. They have no form. These things are not physical matter. They are manifestations, called mental elements, namadhatu. This body is a physical element, rupadhatu. Sound, mental images, and emotions are mental elements, forms of conditioned energy without a physical shape, like frequency waves. The next is memory, what we remember and what we don't. This too is a conditioned phenomenon, a manifestation, a mental element. It's a manifestation that, when there is a body, these experiences must also be present. And the last one is the faculty of perception, the act of perceiving, which is also a manifestation, a mental element. These 5 characteristics, these 5 manifestations, are like the flesh of the orange. The body is like the peel of an orange. These manifestations, or what we call mental elements, are like the orange flesh. What do these things protect? What are they for? Let's delve further inward. These things are tools of the mind, just as the peel and the flesh of the orange are tools of the seed. The seed is the original element. Our own mind is a life element that is formless, utterly empty and pure. It is the source element, the original element. Our mind creates these conditioned phenomena, and this body is entirely created by the mind. The mind is the leader, the principle. Everything is accomplished by the mind. The mind is the fundamental source from which all things originate. Our mind is like the clear, intangible emptiness that lies before us. We constantly depend on our own mind, yet we remain unaware of it. Does this clear emptiness before us contain air? Regardless of the kind, oxygen or carbon dioxide, positive or negative, it all exists within this clear, empty space. But this clear emptiness has no connection to air itself. Air is a form of energy that exists within the emptiness. It is always in motion. But the clear emptiness itself never moves. Whether the air is hot or cold, it merely exists within this emptiness. The clear emptiness does not come or go, nor does it become anything. It remains untouched, entirely unrelated to the air. Air can move, take shape as a tornado, and then vanish. But the clear emptiness never moves. It does not come or go, disintegrate or arise. It was never born. It is the original element, unchanging and eternal. All things arise and dissolve, relying on this clear emptiness. This clear emptiness is neither something or nothing, and it isn't tied to anything previously described. It is the foundational essence that underlies all of existence. From a single point within this emptiness, all the stars emerged, born from a great explosion at the origin, before the universe existed, before the first star, before even darkness or light. This clear emptiness was already there, pure, original, and timeless. It is the source element from which everything arises. And this fundamental emptiness is none other than our own mind, an empty, pure essence of life itself. We are intrinsically connected to it, one with this foundational source. At a certain point within this element, an explosion occurred, what we refer to as the Big Bang. This is a metaphor. expressed through the lens of human understanding. That explosion, boom, from a single point in this vast, formless emptiness, unleashed a surge of energy. It had no shape, no physical structure. It was pure energy emerging from the original element, radiating outward, causing an exchange of energy charges, then forming shapes and appearances as tiny particles that clustered and coalesced into dust fragments. Countless minute particles exchanged electrons, clinging together and merging into energy clusters, compacting and condensing further until they became physical matter, forming the sun, becoming stars with their own heat revolving. Numerous stars revolved around a central axis, which was the sun, and then gradually cooled down. The sun, however, continued to burn intensely because it was composed of gases that fueled the heat, thus creating light, inducing electromagnetic waves and magnetic fields, generating both heat and light. As the stars began to form, settle, and cool, something extraordinary occurred. Our minds, expressions of that same fundamental emptiness, reached out and became connected to the tiniest particles of matter on those stars. When this pure, formless awareness merged with matter, specifically with the atom, the most basic building block, something new emerged: life. Our mind, the essence of pure, empty life, gave vitality to inert matter. But why did this life essence, this pure consciousness, choose to merge with matter? What compelled it to begin the journey that led to the first living being? From a single-celled organism to 2 cells, 3, 4, and on, it kept evolving, gradually developing into more complex forms. The moment we first attached ourselves to physical matter and became living creatures, that was the first emergence of consciousness. Our minds took refuge in vessels, these physical bodies, and began to shape and condition reality. We started consuming matter, resources, and eventually each other, one being consumed another, which led to anger and hatred. They ate us, we resented them. We ate them, they resented us. This cycle of vengeance and karmic entanglement began. Then, the body would eventually break down and die. But our minds, because we are the mind, the life element without form, continued on, finding new vessels to inhabit. Each new body became another opportunity to consume, to grow, to divide, to expand the lineage, until we were once again consumed and died. Then we sought out another vessel, and the cycle repeated, consuming, being consumed, dying again. We became attached to these material bodies and became entangled in the endless cycle of survival and death. We have taken on countless bodies, too many to imagine, in this ongoing process. The evolution of the body advanced gradually until it reached the point where the brain developed enough to think with complex logic and reason. And now, we find ourselves residing in human vessels. But when this human body breaks down and dies, we will once again search for another vessel, likely an animal form. The chance of returning as a human again is extremely rare. The percentage of beings who become human is extremely small. The vast majority are animals. Just consider how many kinds of aquatic creatures there are, and how many of them exist. Countless. Then there are land animals, underground creatures, birds in the sky, and beings that dwell in the air and beyond, even in space. The number of consciousnesses inhabiting these various forms is truly infinite. Humans, by contrast, are only a tiny handful, a very rare minority. That's why the chance of being born into a human vessel is incredibly slim. Yet the human body is the best vessel for turning inward, for learning about the mind, and for returning to the original source. From the very beginning, our minds, each individual consciousness, split off from the primordial element and entered into physical matter, into the tiniest particles. That marked the birth of the first living being on one of many stars. As more stars came into existence, more consciousnesses began inhabiting matter, and more living creatures came into being. The cycle of consuming and being consumed continued, just as described earlier. That was the very first instance of birth. We have taken on every possible form. We've had offspring and expanded our lineage in countless ways. But in truth, we've never really had children. What we call having children is simply the process of extending our own material form, our physical elements. No one truly belongs to anyone else. It's just that individual consciousnesses enter into those material forms, whether during the process of division or reproduction, when gender and sexual reproduction first arose. That's when we began creating new, tiny material bodies in massive numbers, and various consciousnesses began inhabiting them. We call them our children. Some species of animals give birth to tens of thousands, even hundreds of thousands. But do you realize that each one is a consciousness inhabiting a material vessel? Countless minds are waiting for the opportunity to be born, always in line, always waiting. Just like us. We are consciousness, pure, empty, and luminous life essence. We are not the body. The body is merely a vessel we inhabit. And here lies the crucial question. Why does consciousness have to dwell in these vessels, these physical material forms? Why must it enter them? What is consciousness seeking? This is the heart of it. Our consciousness longs to learn. It cannot realize its own pure, original nature without a tool, without something through which to experience and discover itself. That is why it must enter a body, why the endless cycle of incarnation continues. As I've said before, when this body dies and dissolves, we'll enter another, perhaps a human form, perhaps an animal. It depends. We'll become entangled once again in the struggle for survival, learning how to live, how to provide for ourselves. No matter how skilled or capable we are, every body is temporary. It doesn't last. Some bodies survive just a single day. Some last 7 days. Others live a month, a year, or several years. But all bodies, regardless of form, are impermanent. We, as consciousness, inhabit these fleeting vessels, each one destined to break down in time. When the body dies and breaks down, no matter how much knowledge we've gained, how much wealth we possess, or how many comforts and conveniences we've gathered, it all comes to the same end. The body ages, gradually deteriorates, just like a car we've been given to use. That car slowly wears out, breaks down, and eventually becomes unusable. Then we look for a new one, and so the cycle repeats. We use the new vehicle for a while, it begins to fall apart, and we seek yet another. In the same way, we inhabit this body as a temporary vessel. But we are not the body, we are consciousness, a formless, pure life essence, clear, empty, luminous. And we take on bodies for one reason, to learn. You could say that we are a consciousness made of unknowing. We do not know how we came to inhabit this body. We do not know why we are here. And we do not know where we will go when this body dies. This not knowing is the constant companion of the mind. Seen from another perspective, our consciousness longs to understand itself, to realize its true nature as pure essence. But why doesn't it already know what it is? Why doesn't it recognize itself as the original pure element? Do you know why? Because within the pure element of consciousness, this empty, luminous source, there is no movement. Imagine erasing the entire universe. No stars, no space, no light, no darkness. Erase everything. What remains is pure emptiness, clear, radiant, and still. That is the original element of the mind, and from that stillness, the journey into form begins. We are this element, this pure, empty, luminous essence. It is completely untouched, without any form of fabrication or movement. Our consciousness does not move. It does not come or go. There is no distance, no time within it. This emptiness, this pure void, contains absolutely nothing. It has never been born and never decayed. It does not become anything. It simply is. It is the original element, the source element, the purest form of life essence. But then, how can it ever know itself? Because there is no movement, no activity, no change. This pure state cannot recognize itself. We, in our true nature, cannot know what we are. That's why we need a tool, an instrument. Without a tool, we cannot perceive ourselves. It's like trying to go into the deep ocean. We need equipment. We need a submarine, a diving suit, an oxygen tank. Without those tools, we cannot survive underwater. Even if we try, we can only go down briefly and very shallowly. Or think about traveling into outer space. We need a spacecraft, a spacesuit, food, and supplies for the journey. Without the proper equipment, we cannot go. Likewise, our consciousness, this clear, pure, formless life element, needs a vessel. It needs tools to experience, to learn, to understand its own nature. To realize itself, primordial consciousness must have a vessel, a tool for reflection. That's why I often say, the orange seed is like the life element, the primordial essence itself. For the seed to become whole, it must be surrounded by the fruit's flesh and protected by its peel. The peel shelters it, while the flesh nourishes it, infusing the seed with experience, sensation, and wisdom. All of this is gradually drawn inward and concentrated until the seed carries within it the full imprint of the orange. When the seed has been fully nourished, when it holds the essence, the DNA, the complete understanding of the orange and its form, it becomes ripe. It matures. It becomes capable of giving rise to life once again. But this ripening takes time. The seed must patiently absorb and distill the fullness of wisdom. So it is with us. Our primordial consciousness is like a newborn child, innocent, untouched by knowing. Unawareness is not a flaw. It is the very nature of purity. Because primordial consciousness is utterly clear and formless, it cannot yet perceive itself. It must learn. And to learn, it must rely on tools, on vehicles through which it can experience, reflect, and come to know its own nature. Imagine a newborn. When we first emerge into the world, we have no idea how we came to inhabit this body. We don't know we are human. We don't know if we are male or female. We begin in a state of pristine unknowing. And from that emptiness, the journey of remembering begins. Primordial consciousness is neither male nor female. It cannot be human. In truth, we have never truly been born into this world. We have never been human. We are the life element, formless, clear, and purely radiant. We came only to learn what we are, that's all. But to learn, we need tools. We need a suit to wear. So we fashioned a vessel, a body, as an instrument for this learning. When we entered this vessel to begin the journey, we slowly became aware. We began to feel something, a sensation, a contact. The moment we left the womb, boom, we encountered air for the first time. Inside the womb, there was no such contact. But suddenly, we were struck by something unfamiliar. Air, sound, pressure. We didn't know we had been born. All we knew was that something had impacted us. And with that, a feeling arose. Something uncomfortable. Something we didn't like. This was the beginning of emotion. We might call it suffering or displeasure. It was the beginning of dukkha, the sense of unease. Joy and sorrow, contentment and frustration, all these began with that first contact. As newborns, we had no idea what was happening, but we responded. We cried out, "Wah!" That cry was the beginning of learning. It was a release, an instinctive response to discomfort, a signal of dissatisfaction. And so, through feeling and contact, we began the long path of discovery, learning through experience, emotion, and sensation. Even now, we do not truly know that what we are experiencing is called emotion. It is simply a natural phenomenon occurring on its own, governed by not knowing. We began to learn how to release energy by crying out, "Wah!" The more we cried, the more relief we felt. Then, something touched our mouth, but we didn't know it was a mouth. We didn't even know what milk was. Yet something entered, and with that contact, a sensation arose. We instinctively began to suck, and from that, we felt something new, a sweetness, a warmth. This feeling, this satisfaction, it gave rise to a new emotion, pleasure, happiness, contentment. But we didn't know that either. All we knew was the sensation, this subtle shift within. So we drank, and then we slept. We didn't know what sleep was. We only knew that something inside felt a certain way. Remember, we are primordial consciousness, formless, luminous, and pure. Don't lose sight of that. At this point, we still don't know we're human. We don't even recognize the states we're experiencing. Everything is wrapped in not knowing. And because of that, we begin to learn. We sleep. We eliminate waste. We feel discomfort. We feed. We feel satisfied. This cycle continues. We began to feel clothed, warm, beginning to sense warmth. We felt our mother's touch. Our father held us. We started to feel physical contact. We began to open our eyes, but we didn't yet know they were eyes. We just experienced the act of opening them. At that moment, we didn't know we were even human. We simply looked around, seeing everything with a kind of blank, spacious awareness. Try sweeping your gaze from left to right, from right to left. You'll notice a sense of knowing that is empty, open. Who is it that sees? There are no words to name what it is. There is only pure knowing, an awareness with no one owning it. It is natural, unfiltered awareness. But as we grow, we begin to believe that there is a self who knows. We think, I am the one who is aware, the one seeing the wall. Through language, we assign meaning. That is a wall. But if we were to look as a young child does, there would be only empty knowing, no stories, no language, just raw awareness. That is natural knowing, and no one owns it. When we begin to understand that this knowing, this act of perceiving, these mental images, the feelings of pleasure, displeasure, or neutrality, is simply a natural process. When we see that these phenomena arise and move on their own, just like my mouth is speaking right now, it's not me doing it, it's just happening by itself. Then we begin to understand the true nature of awareness. We may observe the mind in constant motion, speaking, reacting, processing, yet there is no need to force ourselves to see this. It is already seen. It reveals itself effortlessly. In truth, it does not become anything. What we are witnessing are simply the functions of nature at work. If we can truly see that sound operates on its own, that mental imagery arises, and fades without command, that emotions come and go by their own nature, then we begin to see that even knowing itself functions in the same way. Whether memory arises or not, it too follows its natural rhythm. So where then is the self? Can anyone actually observe a self, controlling any of this? Who is it that sees that a scent is perceived without effort? Who notices that saliva is swallowed, that breathing continues, that hunger and fullness appear on their own? These are not actions of a self. They are the movements of nature. We hear sounds by nature. Scents are known by nature. Images are seen, flavors tasted, warmth and cold felt, without any me doing it. These are not personal. They are impersonal functions, occurring spontaneously, without need for ownership. And if we can truly see this, and inquire further, where is the self in all of it? Can it be found? Or is it simply an assumption, a deeply held belief that dissolves under clear seeing? The moment this is seen, not just intellectually, but deeply accepted by the heart, the mind begins to release itself. It no longer clings to the illusion of being the controller or the possessor of experience. This release is like launching into space. Having built the spacecraft and donned the suit, we are now no longer bound by gravity. We have left the atmosphere. We have stepped beyond the world of self-construction, beyond the orbit of identification. This is the freedom that comes not through escape, but through profound understanding, through realizing that what we thought was ourselves has always been a dance of nature, moving on its own, free from ownership. Now, consider this. Even the spacesuit operates on its own. The oxygen tank functions automatically. The spacecraft maintains itself. These instruments carry out their roles without our intervention. They are not truly ours. We never desired these tools for their own sake. We simply use them to explore what lies beyond this world. Our true aim is not the suit, nor the spaceship. We are here to discover and understand what exists beyond the atmosphere. That is the purpose, to learn, to realize. In the same way, we have temporarily taken refuge in this vessel called the body. If we observe carefully, we'll see that the body functions just like that spaceship. The stomach digests on its own. The heart beats on its own. The lungs purify the air without us doing anything. Breathing happens naturally. We never truly wanted the body itself. The voice that is speaking right now is merely an instrument. We don't inherently desire the voice, nor do we truly want mental images, emotions, or even the act of knowing. These are just tools, tools that allow us to discover something much deeper. And what is that? We are here to realize that we are, in truth, a pure, empty essence, clear and untainted. That is what we are. That is what we are here to understand. If someone comes to understand this, then rejoice. Truly, rejoice. Because if you've been paying close attention since the beginning of this reflection, you'll notice it has only ever been this one voice speaking. Who can see that this voice is just telling stories? We get caught in its meaning, moved by its emotions, and we believe it's real. But if we see clearly, this voice isn't us. It's not even a true voice, just a ripple of the mind, a mental phenomenon. These functions, speaking, imagining, feeling, arise when we take on a body. They're just tools, sound to communicate, images to visualize, emotions to express. Perception and memory arise too. Right now, hearing is happening. But notice, it happens by itself. No training needed. Who can see that there's no me in any of this? It's all just nature at work. These tools are borrowed only so we may realize we are the pure, empty, luminous essence of life. Not the tools, just the one who temporarily uses, then lets them go. This will be our final life, we will not be born again, simply because of this one realization. I've been telling this story from the beginning, connecting all the pieces. Listen to this teaching again and again. Whenever you see clearly that this voice, this very voice, is the one creating all stories, from the first word to this very moment, you'll see it's been this voice all along. From waking to sleep, we rely on this inner voice, the voice that speaks inside. We call it thought. We depend on thinking so much that it makes us mentally sick. Whether the voice stays in the mind or is spoken aloud, it's the same voice. We rely on this voice all the time. But for what? To keep being born endlessly? No. Remember this clearly. Come back. This voice, these mental images, these emotions, we rely on them all. We use the voice to communicate. We use mental images to think. That means we are not those things. We are something else, something without shape, without sound. We rely on sound because we ourselves have no sound. We rely on images because we cannot form images. We rely on emotions because our true nature has no emotion. We rely on memory because our true nature holds no memory. All of these, voice, image, feeling, memory, are merely tools. We are the pure, formless, silent nature that borrows these tools only to let them go. We have come to rely on the faculty of knowing, this awareness that hears the sound right now. Can you see that this knowing happens on its own? It knows sound, it knows scent, it knows form. We make use of these faculties. These 5 types of sensory activity are here only to show us one essential truth, that we, in our true nature, have no such activity at all. Who among us can see clearly that there is no self within any of these functions? As for the body, it need not be discussed in depth. We merely borrow it temporarily. From the moment we emerged from our mother's womb, we began to inhabit this body. We began to rely on these perceptions. Then we were taught to think, to remember, to eat, to believe. We were taught that we are the children of our parents, taught to believe we have a name, a surname. This is your house. This is your car. These are your possessions. This is your world. We were taught to believe we are human, that we must eat, that we must struggle, compete, dominate, and destroy, to be angry, to hate. And from there, we began to remember everything. Ah, this is my body. I am male. I am female. But the mind, the essence of consciousness, has never been a person. It has never been male or female. Here lies the crucial point. So long as the mind, or more precisely, the life element that we call us, has not awakened to the truth that we are this empty, radiant, and pristine essence, we will continue to be misled by the illusion of identity. Apart from this, there is nothing that truly belongs to us. Even the voice speaking right now is not who we are. We are not this voice. We are not mental images. We are not emotions. Do not sink into emotions, regardless of their kind. They are not you. Many people, when overcome with sorrow, become completely absorbed in it, crying as though their tears were made of blood, overwhelmed by pain and suffering. But emotions have no true self. They are merely transient conditions, arising and then passing away. Do not engage with them. Do not give them importance. We were not born to drown in emotions. Whether it is joy or sorrow, it is all just a passing state. Even the voice that speaks is merely an arising condition. Do not be carried away by sound. Do not be carried away by imagination. Many are overwhelmed by their thoughts, sitting and thinking, lying down and thinking, endlessly occupied with debt, wealth, business, spouses, children. They think and think until the mind breaks down. They become insomniacs. Then come stress-related illnesses, anxiety, migraines, bipolar disorder, depression, acid reflux, loss of appetite, ulcers, even cancer. The more we engage with these fabricated thoughts, the more quickly the body deteriorates. This body is made of the physical elements. It is not immune. As for thoughts, mental images, emotions, perception, and even memory, these are all conditioned phenomena. They are like forms of energy. The more we rely on this fabricated energy, the more it stirs, generating heat that eventually burns through the body. The more we dwell on suffering, the more we generate dark energy, fiery, heavy, destructive. If we were to give it a color, the energy of anger, hatred, and vengeance would be red, like a fire scorching the body from within. This inner fire leads to illness, a host of physical and mental diseases. On the other hand, when we engage with thoughts that bring happiness or peace, we generate energy that is light, cool, and clear. The body becomes more radiant, at ease, and balanced. But regardless of the kind of emotion, whether it belongs to the dark or the light, the pleasant or the unpleasant, do we realize that none of it is truly us? Just as an orange peel is formed from the pulp within, whether that pulp is sweet, sour, bitter, or bland, it remains part of the fruit. Yet all of these qualities, good or bad, are external. They are not who we are. We are the seed of the orange, not the flesh, not the peel. The taste of the fruit is not the point. What matters is that we are the seed. If you leave an orange sitting out, it will slowly begin to wither and rot. Microorganisms and small creatures will start to consume and break it down. The orange will shrivel, grow mold, and gradually decay until nothing remains. That is the nature of the fruit and the peel, to be born and to dissolve. But there is one thing that remains untouched, the seed. No matter how beautiful the orange appears, once left alone, it becomes spoiled and decomposes. It was never meant to last. But the seed does not decay. Even after many days or months, the seed endures. And if it's placed in the right soil, with the right water and conditions, it will crack open and begin to grow. This is because it holds the life element, the essence that does not perish. Unlike the peel or the flesh, the seed does not rot. It simply waits for the right conditions to take root, grow into a tree, and bear fruit that nourishes all living beings. Who would have thought that a great tree, and all the nourishment it provides, could come from a tiny orange seed? The mind is just like that. Our mind is the pure, empty, luminous life element. When this mind enters a body, the body becomes alive. But if we were to remove the mind from the body would immediately collapse and begin to decay. This body, if left to continue on, gradually deteriorates, just like the orange. It weakens little by little until it finally stops functioning, dies, and begins to decompose. Yet the mind, the life element, if it hasn't realized its true nature, will go on seeking a new body. As the body ages and declines, nearing death, thought and voice begin to fade. The inner voice stops being used. It dissolves. Mental images, emotions, and perception also dissolve. These experiences seem to be buried into the mind, but in truth, they are not buried. They are simply mental phenomena, manifestations of the mind. Let me offer a clearer analogy. In the very beginning, there was only pure emptiness, bright, transparent, boundless. This was the same elemental emptiness that fills the entire cosmos. At that time, there were no stars, no forms, nothing at all. No darkness, no light. Just pure, silent emptiness. Then, from a single point, an explosion occurred. From that emerged energy and matter, forming shapes of all kinds, giving rise to stars and galaxies beyond number. Now, our primordial consciousness, which originated from that place, is an essence of pure emptiness, seamlessly unified with the boundless void. When this consciousness encounters impact, whether from energetic particles or celestial forms, it begins to respond. In that moment, as phenomena begin to arise, this primordial emptiness, once completely still and indivisible, begins to form a subtle membrane, like a bubble, around itself. This is the beginning of perception. The primordial consciousness, which in its original state is pure, still, and without form, cannot perceive anything on its own. It contains no movement, no birth or death, no sound, no image, no emotion, no sensation, no memory. It is immortal, untouched, and unchanging, a pure seed of origin, like the seed of an orange. When it separates from the source, when it begins to individuate, it forms a delicate sheath around itself, a membrane to allow perception. Imagine a soap bubble. When something touches it, pop, it feels the contact through its surface. That bubble is not the self, but it is the instrument through which the self begins to learn. It ripples and stirs in response, initiating the process of experience, the gateway to wisdom. When our mind begins to create a bubble, a thin, transparent membrane to wrap itself in, it does so in order to take on form. Let us call this the subtle body. We begin to construct the form of this subtle body, the form of perception, of mental formations. This is the beginning of name and form, of mental fabrications. As we form this transparent layer around ourselves, the once unified, pure emptiness becomes divided. In this act of wrapping ourselves in a bubble of fabrication, we are now separated from the whole. We have created a world of mental construction, enclosing ourselves within it. Inside the bubble is the same pure, luminous emptiness that we truly are. But now, separated by this membrane, we can no longer merge with the boundless emptiness outside. The bubble has become a barrier. From this point on, we are able to move. Imagine it. Before the bubble was formed, there was no movement, no space, no time, just stillness and unity. If the bubble were to suddenly burst, we would immediately merge back into that infinite formless whole. But once the bubble is formed, snap, separation occurs. Movement becomes possible, and with movement, time arises, space arises, dimensions begin to unfold. It all starts from the moment the mind wraps itself in fabrication. We began to take on form, a form shaped by mental fabrication, like a bubble. Once something touches it, ping, it ripples, and that ripple becomes experience. From that point on, the learning begins. When the mind wraps itself in this subtle bubble, it starts to interact, to learn, and to accumulate experiences. But as long as it hasn't awakened to its true nature, as the pure, empty, luminous life element, it will continue to be reborn, again and again, without end. We've been studying the lessons of this world for countless lifetimes. We've been everything, animals, beings of every kind. And now, we've taken human form. Maybe we're wealthy. Maybe we've earned 8 million degrees. Maybe we have endless food, property, even claim the entire earth as our own. But so what? The body still dies. And then what? The mind goes off to find a new body, and more often than not, it won't be human. It will be an animal. That's the truth. The chance to be born as a human is incredibly rare. And what have we gained from all of this? Nothing. Still the same. Born just to die. Over and over again. We've changed bodies. Aren't we tired yet? When will we stop? When will we finally begin to study the one lesson that truly matters, the knowledge that awakens the mind? When will we end this cycle of becoming, once and for all? Do you know that the mind, or the life element, is immortal? It is an element so pure, so refined, beyond anything we can imagine. On the day I awakened and realized the truth of my own mind, by turning inward and directly seeing that all these phenomena are not me, it shattered. All my previous knowledge, all the understanding of being a human, exploded and dissolved, like a bubble bursting. And when that bubble burst, I saw the truth. I had never truly been born into this world, and neither have you. It all became an infinite emptiness, one that merged with the entire universe, and then awakened. What remained was radiant, pure, utterly free. There was only brightness, joy, and peace. No suffering, no fabrication, only purity, luminous and blissful. It was the eternal element. There was no trace of sorrow, and it remained like that, unchanging. Once you know there is no birth, you see there is nothing left to be born. What could be born when there's nothing left? And this state is constant. There's no sense of, I am speaking now. No sense of, this is a voice. No me who is speaking. No you who is hearing. There is only the natural movement, rippling as awareness, rippling as sound, rippling as all things. Just pure phenomena, arising and dissolving on their own. There is no self in this world at all, and because of that, there is no suffering. From this moment on, I dedicate my remaining time to sharing the knowledge of awakening to the true mind, so that everyone may hear it. Whether you're a child or elderly, disabled or able-bodied, woman or man, regardless of age, gender, belief, religion, nationality, or ethnicity. These are all labels we humans have fabricated. They were never real, but every one of us can awaken to the mind. Everyone can listen. So let us share these teachings with the whole world. Let the world hear these recordings through the Panya Vimutti channel. And once we awaken to the mind, we will suffer no more. It doesn't take long, but however long it takes, let it take as long as it needs. Just keep listening until your final breath. There have been many people who listened for less than 7 days. Many. And suddenly, they broke down in tears, because they realized they are the pure element. Since then, they've never suffered again. They came to understand this world of illusion, to see that none of it is truly them. And with that comes no pride, no arrogance, no desire to dominate or harm others. Only one feeling remains, the deep wish to help one another, to lead all beings out of suffering. These days, I live in this world without wanting anything at all. I only wish one thing, for all of us to return home. It's time. Let us return. Why are we still lost? If we awaken to the truth of consciousness, we will weep. We will cry from the depths of our being. Oh, how blind we have been. We believed we were human. We believed everything around us was real. But we forgot. We forgot that we are consciousness. Not just any consciousness, but primordial, luminous, and boundless. So empty and clear that it absorbs the entire universe. We forgot what we truly are. And in forgetting, we became attached to the container, this body, as if it were ourselves. Yet this body doesn't last. We became lost in the tools, like sound. But even sound is just a phenomenon. It thinks on its own, speaks on its own, constantly moving and changing. It has no fixed self. You can't hold it, can't shape it, can't grasp it. We're simply using these tools, using the body so we can leave the body, using the voice so we can transcend the voice. We inhabit these tools not to keep them, but to release them. Why? Because we seek to remember that we are the pure essence, the primordial life energy. It's like traveling beyond the cosmos. We need the spaceship, we need the spacesuit, but only to explore, only to understand, and ultimately, only to let go. We don't truly need a spaceship. We don't need a suit. What we truly need is to learn. Likewise, we make use of this voice, these mental images, emotions, and the sense of knowing, all of which arise and operate on their own. This voice, it hears itself. It speaks on its own. It smells. It feels. It reacts. So please don't suffer. Don't sink into these experiences. Don't cling to them. Don't grasp at this voice. It is not real. We use it, but it is not truly us. Mental images are not real. They are not us. Emotions, whether stillness, neutrality, happiness, suffering, satisfaction, dissatisfaction, do not define us. Do not hold on to them. Do not drown in them. They are just phenomena, just tools. What is knowing right now? Memory, thought, perception, these are just instruments. Whether they arise clearly or not, whether they are sharp or dull, let them be. That is their nature, not ours. Can you see it? Sounds arise and are heard, on their own. When a car drives by, notice, it hears the sound by itself. The eyes see on their own. Can you observe how this knowing happens on its own? Primordial consciousness is pure, so pure it cannot be touched. It expresses itself in the form of knowing. It ripples into sound. It ripples into mental imagery. It ripples into emotion. All of these are ripples, but not the ocean itself. All of this, these sensations, emotions, perceptions, they are merely manifestations, expressions of movement. They are just conditions. We simply borrow these things in order to see clearly that they are not truly us. We are the pure essence. That's all. See this clearly. These are not who we are. And when you truly see it, it will burst forth within you. You'll break open, dissolve completely. The more you listen to my talks, the lighter you will feel, lighter and clearer. Remember this. Keep listening, and the burden will lift. Why? Because nothing is you. And when nothing is you, there is no need to fight, no need to kill, no need to take from one another. We will live together in harmony and peace. This is how world peace begins. We will speak only of consciousness, of the radiant, empty, pure essence of life. And those who realize it first, let them share the wonder of it with others. How astonishing it is, how light, how unburdened, how there's nothing left to be me. And for those who have not yet awakened, just keep listening. You will awaken. It doesn't take long. Just remember, the peel of the orange, the flesh of the orange, they are temporary. They will rot and disappear. But the seed never becomes anything. It is the essence of life. Just like that, this body will not last. All the knowledge we've gathered, if the body dies, what good is it? The mind will move on, find a new body. It will start over again and again. Even if you've learned everything there is to learn, you'll lose it all. We will begin again in a new vessel. No matter how skilled, wealthy, or accomplished we are, it is all ultimately meaningless, because we will start over, again and again, born only to die. The only way to end this cycle is to awaken to the truth, that we are the pure element, and everything else is not truly us. So make a vow, Gently incline the mind to listen, and listen deeply. Set the intention. Let this be our final life. Observe this voice. It speaks on its own, thinks on its own, feels on its own. Knowing happens by itself. So where is the self in all of this? Let the mind answer. See it clearly, and you'll come home at last. Let us stop here. May all who open their hearts to these teachings swiftly awaken to the pure, empty, radiant life element within. May it happen suddenly, directly, and for everyone. If you're interested in these teachings on awakening, mind observation, and transcending suffering through wisdom, we'd love to hear your thoughts. Share your insights in the comments, provide productive feedback, and if you find this content valuable, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel.